Alright, hit intro, Shokugeki no Soma Season 2. We kick things off with the start of the tournament round in the autumn elections. There is a drawing to see who of the 8 remaining contestants will compete in the first round. Soma gets selected to compete first, and he's going up against the darling of molecular gastronomy herself, Alice. The challenge is to make a bento lunch, and whoever makes it better proceeds to the next round. Alice uses all this fancy equipment to whip up a tamari sushi bento that, when eaten in order, complement each flavor even further, leading to euphoria and ultimate foodgasm. It's so good, in fact, that the director of the school, who is one of the judges, goes bare-chested, which is a sign that the dish is truly phenomenal. I don't think there's any real logic behind the fact that the food was so good that he has to take his shirt off, but you know, you see enough anime, you just kind of start going along with it. Fun little side note, if you remember in season 1, the director tasted Soma's dish during his entrance exam and nearly took his shirt off. But anyways, back to the competition. Now it's Soma's turn, and he uses some molecular gastronomy of his own. They do a fun little dance of the judges being like, well, that's not quite good enough, and then Soma's like, wait, there's more, like 5 or 6 times in a row, and then finally he deals the killing blow. A cheap candy gave him the idea to make some umami-packed nori spheres over some rice with some badass sauce. This makes the director show damn titties, and Soma goes on to win, knocking Alice out of the tournament in the first round. Episode 2. For the second match of the tournament phase, Megami is the underdog going in against the gloomy Ryo, who turns into a maniac when he's cooking. We get a little backstory on Ryo from Alice, and we find out that even she can't cook as well as him. He was the head chef of a restaurant from a very young age, and always carried himself with immense confidence and bordering psycho levels of intensity. But back to the competition, they are both tasked with making a ramen, and Ryo finishes his dish first. His dish is centered around heavy, dense flavors that pack a punch, which he made by using crushed lobster shells. Megami takes the polar opposite approach with a very light kozuyu chicken soy sauce ramen. The judges taste both dishes, and we get this weird metaphorical slugfest between the dishes in anticipation of the final decision. Episode 3. The judges give their ruling, and Ryo is announced to be the winner, although the crowd helped give support to Megami after her defeat. Soma comes across the dark horse in the competition, who barely qualified in Group A, Subaru Mimasaka. The two of them, along with Takumi and Megami, watch the third match from one of the waiting rooms. The third match is between the scent guru Hayama, who is placed up against Erina's medicinal secretary Hisako. Americans rejoice as the two of them are tasked with making a hamburger for the judges. Hisako prepares a soft-shell turtle burger and ruthlessly slaughters a poor little guy in front of everybody. Quick side note, the crazy yandere from season 1 was really getting her rocks off watching this. But none of that really matters once Hayama presents his kebab burger, which punches his ticket to the next round after a swift victory. The fourth match is going to be with the mysterious new character Subaru, who is revealed to be a massive stalker that collects all the information he can about his opponents. I'm sure some of you weirdos can relate. He's gonna be going up against Takumi, and things get heated when Subaru insults Takumi's little brother and spits on his mezzaluna. Episode 4. Because of their little altercation, they both agree to make their match into a Shokugeki. The match gets underway with Takumi's spit-shine mezzaluna on the line against Subaru's apology, which seems like an awful bet. Subaru did extensive research on Takumi to find out not only what makes him tick, but what exactly he is planning on making for the competition. He then mimics the recipe at the competition, but makes slight improvements so that he can get the upper hand. He's used this strategy to obtain 99 prized knives off of people who have lost to him in Shokugekis. So basically, he's like the General Grievous of this show. Subaru predicts everything correctly about Takumi, even the twists that he tries adding to his dish to keep up with Subaru's alterations. This ultimately ends with Takumi losing the Shokugeki, his mezzaluna, and getting knocked out of the autumn elections. In the last scene, Subaru approaches Soma to let him know that they were put against each other in the next round. Subaru requests to make it a Shokugeki with Soma's knife on the line, but Soma instead raises the stakes to have all 100 knives that Subaru has won in his Shokugekis returned to their rightful owners. To have equal value, Soma vows to quit cooking altogether if he loses. Gee, wonder who's gonna win. Episode 5. Soma figures Subaru's gonna figure out what he's making anyway, so he just tells him that he's planning on making a beef stew. We are introduced to a new character, Mitsuru Sotsuta, who is a reporter that wants exclusive coverage of Soma's process making his beef stew. Soma and Sotsuta head to ask Erina if she will taste his dish and say what she thinks. Erina still hates Soma, so this takes some convincing along with a little bit of bribery, but she eventually comes around to the idea and tells him that his dish is garbage because it's not well suited for this challenge. After mulling this over, he figures out what she meant and adds oxtail to the dish to give it a little bit of kick right out of the gate. Episode 6. Subaru reveals his twist to be smoked bacon that he's going to be using as a garniture. We also find out that he learned what Soma was planning because he looked at Mitsuru's notes after hacking his computer. Fun fact, he was able to hack Mitsuru's computer because his password is his birthday. What a fucking idiot. In response to Subaru's unorthodox strategy, Soma came up with a strategy of his own. Since Subaru's gonna figure out his plans anyways, he just doesn't plan anything and brings a bunch of ingredients and meats with him so that he can cook on the fly. Apparently there were other students that tried using this strategy against Subaru and their Shokugekis, but none of them were good enough to pull it off. And of course Soma wins because he's not gonna lose to this random side character that came out of nowhere, so all of the knives are returned to their rightful owners. Except for Takami's Mezzaluna, which he gives to Soma to hold on to until he can defeat him, which I don't think is gonna happen, so hey, free Mezzaluna, sick. Episode 7. The second semi-final match is coming up and Hayama is preparing. He's blindfolded by June and has to guess the ingredients in front of him using only his nose. Which all sounds well and good, but the part that's confusing me is why is he tied to a chair? I have to believe that there's some sort of reward system that June is implementing that I would love to take part in. Jump ahead to the match where the two of them are tasked with making a Western style dish. Hayama finishes up first and serves up his duck dish, which wows the judges. But Ryo isn't out of it yet when he serves up his Il Marlo, which brings the match to a stalemate. The judges are split with 2 votes each, and the last judge is too beta to make a decision, so it ends up being a draw. The finals are changed to be a 3-way battle between Hayama, Ryo, and Soma to decide the winner. They are tasked with cooking Pacific Sari for their dish in the finals. Episode 8. The 3 of them have 10 days to prepare for the finals, so Megami and Soma head to the fish market to see what kind of fresh fish they can find. When they get there, they find Ryo and Alice there as well. Both Soma and Ryo claim to know what determines how fresh the fish is. This turns into a mini competition with both of them picking different fish that they think is better. Turns out Ryo is kind of an expert and puts Soma to shame. We get a look at Hayama, who is also able to find the best fish just by using his nose. Soma is at a disadvantage to both of his opponents, so he's trying to figure out how to compensate for the disparity in skill. He ends up deciding to age his fish and calls in some of the side characters to help him out with it. After even that isn't enough, he gets discouraged until he gets an idea from Fumio, but we don't see what it is. The finals roll around and the 3 contestants reveal their fish. As expected, the other 2 have amazing choices while Soma's looks discolored and just downright nasty. Episode 9. The cooking gets underway and Ryo is the first one to finish his dish, a cartoccio cooked in herb butter. Hayama is next to finish his seared carpaccio that has a bewitching aroma when exposed to fire. Now it's Soma's turn to present his salted rice bran Pacific Sari rice. It's good, but not good enough. The director didn't even take his clothes off, and if that doesn't tell you how good it was, then I don't know what will. Before the decision could be made, Soma pulls another cheap infomercial, but wait, there's more, and presents his dish's final form. Episode 10. He whips out a white soup made from soy milk and pours it over the dish, making it into a porridge. We take a quick detour to learn from Satoshi that Aizen was actually the one behind Subaru gunning for Soma. This was his attempted revenge on Soma for messing with his client, but of course it got shut down. We then get a quick flashback of Hayama's childhood when he was picked up by June, who gave him a home and made him into the chef he is now. The flashback is some subtle foreshadowing as Hayama goes on to win the entire event, with the originality of his dish being the deciding factor. Even after the competition ends, the 3 of them remain competitive with one another, constantly taste testing each other's dishes and trying to challenge one another. A few days later, they learn from June that the next challenge is coming up, the Stagiaire. Episode 11. The Stagiaire program requires students to go work for restaurants over a week and not only keep up, but find a way to improve the restaurant before leaving. Soma is paired up with Hisako, who is still avoiding Erina because of the shame from her defeat. They work at a restaurant that has sudden floods of customers because of a nearby train station, and the staff can't keep up to serve all of the customers. Soma handles the pressure from all of the orders just fine, but him and Hisako know a change is needed, so they brainstorm on how to ensure that the customers are getting served. They convince the owner to switch to reservations only, which makes everything more manageable. After the week is over, Soma convinces Hisako to stop feeling shame over her defeat and to walk beside Erina instead of acting like a servant and walking behind her. Hisako was never a huge fan of Soma's thanks to Erina's influence, but she seems to have grown fond of him. Not in the sense that she's like thirsty for him like Meat Lady, but she's friendly. Episode 12. For the second part of the stagiaire, Soma is sent out to work with Shinomiya at his new restaurant. He works with Shinomiya during the pre-open in preparation for the final opening, where he falls behind and can't quite get his bearings. This doesn't discourage him though. He stays up most of the nights learning the recipes and techniques while also doing the prep work in the morning so that the other chefs have more time to answer his questions. This goes on every day until finally he starts to get the hang of it and gains the acceptance of the others. The staff are having a competition amongst themselves to create a new dish for the menu, and Soma gets permission from Shinomiya to enter as well. Episode 13. On the pre-open's final day, Shinomiya invites the other alumni as well as his mother to come enjoy his cooking. Afterwards, the competition gets underway and the alumni stick around to see who wins. We don't get to see what the other staff members made, but Soma takes everything he learned to make a French version of chicken and egg rice bowl with a risotto stuffed quail. Shinomiya says that the dish isn't good enough as is, but he likes the concept, so he works with Soma to show him how to refine it and adds it to the menu. Everyone gets back to Totsuki Academy after passing the stagiaire. His apron says dog, dog. Now that is a man of culture. I bet he watches hentai too. What an inspiration. While away on the stagiaire, Soma had gotten a ton of Shokugeki requests, and he's eager to start stomping these nerds out one at a time, starting with the budget Wolverine over here. I'm gonna be doing the future seasons, and that'll be in the bottom left whenever I'm finished with it, or you can check out all the Shokugeki recaps in this playlist here. You can also find the links in the description below, and the only thing I hate more than intros is outros.